Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to a spot of Joe. Intro, cool stuff. Blazing music, bass drop, cool flashy lights. Yeah, so that's gonna be the intro. Planning it in my head. It's gonna be awesome. You guys are gonna love it. Today, on a spot of Joe, I will be giving you an update on my eCom journey. I'm going to give you guys ready for it, blah 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 blah. I'm gonna give you guys an awesome little tidbit of information about eCom, and I'm also gonna tell you a message I feel like guys sorely need to know. Okay, so that's three things. Update on my eCom journey, some eCom lessons from a spot of Joe himself, and then a message guys tune in you need to hear. Maybe ladies too, you might be able to help your man. So shall we get started? The answer is yes, of course. First of all, subscribe and share, because I know you like my stuff and I love you guys and I want to keep giving you guys value. So if you guys want to keep seeing this value, you guys are going to need to spread the word so this can get big. I want this to be the premier eCom entrepreneur vlog for a guy that's real. And there aren't too many guys that vlog their journeys as they happen. Most people are coming from a perspective of going backwards, and that's great because they can be mentors, and mentors are vital. I have a mentor, Matt Poshis, cool guy. You guys should check out his mentor academy, My First Million Mentor Academy.com. Retreat in November. If there are still tickets, I'm able to help you guys out. I would have to make sure you're the right type. It's about $10,000 plus or minus depending on how many people have gone so far, because it goes up the less spots there are. I've reserved my spot. It's in Lithuania, November 10th to 15th. He's going to bring in guys that make over $1 million a month to teach us how to do that. I'm going to get started. So my name's Joe, as you know, from Spot of Joe. If you haven't yet, subscribe, hit share too on your favorite video, and also this one. Leave a comment too. I'll have a comment question at the end, and I'll find something to give away to you guys. Probably something that I ship. You can pick any one thing from my store. That would be my treat to one raffle each and every month. It's super cool. So when I was a kid, I often would sell things on eBay and Amazon, and I'd also sell things on Craigslist. My dad is a businessman himself. He worked mostly in executive positions. He was in marketing in Hershey's. He was also in marketing in Foster Farms and Jelly Belly. Graduated from here, Rutgers, with food science degree. Went to Northwestern for a business degree, which at the time was, I believe, the best or one of the best business schools in the country. Kellogg Business School. Made, of course, by Kellogg, the guy behind it. Which was great. So he was able to create that kind of life for himself. The life of mysteriousness, life of intrigue. At one point he sold things overseas for Hershey's. He helped introduce it to Korea, and he imbibed a lot of his knowledge to me, gave me the taste for entrepreneurship. My mom was actually an entrepreneur at one point, and she is at the moment. She was a calligraphy tutor. She taught she taught crafts, and it instilled in me the gift of crafts and the love of art. That's what I got from my mom, and the ability to create a project and sit down and work on it. Very, very hardworking woman, and I respect the hell out of her. So she and my dad, at one point were a perfect couple, and worked together on an antique business in Pittsburgh before I was born. So yeah, that was some of the background of that. I learned some e-commerce from my father, who helped me learn the basics, and also let me use his store and got me set up with Craigslist also. And I would do sales every now and then. I wouldn't really keep track of my bottom line. I didn't really care about that. And at the same time, excuse me, at the same time, I didn't run it like a business. I ran it like an individual sales machine. So while I learned the basics of selling, of writing copy, of putting up pictures, of what to care about, what not to care about, keywords, etc., the important part is that it needed to be run from the perspective of I need to make money. I need to buy low, sell high. And that's what I'm learning and practicing now. And running it like a business is very different than running it like a way to get and sell things you do and don't want, and not caring about the ultimate bottom line. So that's where I'm coming from right now, and that's the strategies I'm learning. I've started a Shopify store before the Academy. joesfidgets.com got its first sale a couple days ago. I put up some great Facebook ads. I spent way more than I got, but the thing is I invested in engagement. I know that when I return to the Shopify store, it'll be there for me. Ideally, I'd be working on it now. However, in this Academy, apparently there are some skills that I need to learn before I get to the Shopify level in order to be able to sustain and grow it at the pace that I need to sustain and grow it at to be successful. And I'm not going to divulge everything just because it's not my mentorship academy and it's not my place to divulge everything that's inside it. I respect Matt enough that I'm going to let him share what he wants to share. And he has a lot of public YouTube videos through his academy that you guys can see and see some of the value that's inside. But at the same time, it's important for me to share some of the things I've learned. And that involves that you want to first start up with eBay. So eBay is a good place to get set up with the basics of e-commerce. The ability to go through the basics, the ability to share your desire for making money online, and to start doing it at small levels, to be able to list effectively, to be able to use keywords effectively, to be able to run the logistics effectively, run the bottom line effectively, got some people working under you, virtual assistants, etc. That kind of thing enables you to work hard and get a lot of money. A guy he brought on a call and recorded inside the group makes about $20,000 on eBay, which is a lot. I mean, for Amazon or Shopify, that would be just pennies. But for eBay, that's pretty significant. Actually, it might even be like more than that. I think it's more than that. But it's at least $20,000 a month because he has about 30 virtual assistants working for him in a hierarchy. He has some as managers, some as workers. There's a whole tree that he has set up. And that enables him to be able to work together as a group and get a lot more done. Then move on to Amazon, move on to Shopify. And so one of the things, my golden ticket of knowledge in this case, when it comes to e-commerce, is you have to experiment. You have to experiment. There are some products that won't work. And there are some products that will work, but you're just not advertising them the right way, or to the right people, or with the right copy, or with the right pictures, or with the right price. And the only way that you'll know is if you test. And so that when it comes to e-commerce, I found so far, and take it from a guy that's still going on the journey, but I've found so far that you have to experiment, because you can assume that something's not selling for a certain reason, and maybe that, I look at recordings to my site, and people they look at, I can see them looking at a specific product and then moving around the site, or I can see them looking at a product and scrolling down to the price and then moving away, or looking at a product and then closing the window. And I don't really know what they're thinking. Sometimes I can imagine that, they looked at the price and then went away because they don't like it. Well, maybe they looked at the price and went away because they think it's good but want to check other sites and are planning on coming back and buying it. I don't know that yet. And for me to assume one way or the other either puts their value as a customer higher in my mind than they are, or puts their value in my mind as a customer lower than they actually are. And I don't really know yet until I see them buy it or not. And sometimes they might be on the edge, on the very brim of buying it for no particular reason, and then won't. And that's something that I have to figure out how to not combat, but like how to work with my customers so that I can share the value that they're getting, and then I can give it to them. Because as a business owner, that's my job, to share the value that people get and give it to them. Cool. So that's the eCom stuff. I'm gonna get into the message for guys, and especially in America. I know this is important because I know the ideology, at least where I am, is very, very much necessary that I share this message. Other countries may or may not need this as much. Other areas of the U.S. may or may not need this as much. But I want to share that every guy needs to be a guy. And by that, I mean that you need to be a man. There's a lot, in the past, it was encouraged for guys to be men. And I'm going to explain what I mean by a man. It might not be what you think. In the past, it was common for guys to be taught to have ambition, to have goals, to figure out how to do that, to overcome obstacles, and to stay strong and not show their neediness. And at times it did go too far. I'm like, don't show your emotions, don't show your vulnerability. That's very different than not showing neediness. It's quite different. But that basic definition of a man, a guy who has values, who has goals and ambitions and desires, and will go after them, and will set them in his mind and not settle. That's a man. And a lot of guys nowadays are taught to be boys. They're taught to be, sometimes even girls are taught to show their neediness. They're taught to not go after girls specifically because it makes them uncomfortable. And yes, you going after a girl from a needy perspective will make a girl uncomfortable. She doesn't want to be with a needy guy. You going after her with a strong, confident perspective, accepting whatever comes, is going to get normally a positive reaction from her. And if it gets a negative reaction from her, you're not needy, so you don't care. You're comfortable in yourself. So when it comes to a message, I want to tell guys everywhere that they need to learn how to be a man, and they need to learn to figure out the resources necessary to become a man. Because unfortunately, a lot of guys nowadays are not equipped because their fathers unfortunately weren't equipped to be men. Their mothers didn't necessarily have the father at home. Industrial Revolution, before that, most fathers worked on a farm or worked on a family business, or worked at home and were able to connect with their kids. But after that, either their fathers died in war, in World War II, World War I, or they went away in the 40s and 50s to go to work. Mothers had to raise their kids, so that those baby boomer fathers were disconnected from their fathers and raised by mothers and didn't know how to be men. And it's a historical scenario that you can put together and really trace back. And it's important for us as men to band together, reclaim our masculinity, which was unfortunately, because of historical facts, taken over by women, which is the advent of femininity. And don't get me wrong, like, women should be respected, but women shouldn't have to make the money in the house. In fact, I know a lot of women are comfortable with that and like that, but I think most women are doing that because society tells them they have to, and society is telling them they have to because men aren't stepping up and being men. So somebody has to step up and be men, and that's why we have the feminism like rampant in today's society. And unfortunately, it's reducing gender relations. And yeah, I mean, there's some truth to there being like more than two genders, but usually that's a sign of unhealthy sexuality, like of not having a healthy sexuality, like not being sexually healthy. There we go. And again, like there's not necessarily anything wrong with a guy fucking a guy or a girl fucking a girl. In a lot of ways, it's natural. What I mean by sexually unhealthy, I mean that somebody using sex for something that's not what it's for in their life, like using it for validation, or using it for something that's not either a connection with their partner, or procreation, or 100% consensual, like fun between you and somebody else, you know, like a win-win, we're both having fun situation, which really isn't that hard to get. You just have to be confident in yourself and be able to have social skills, which again is easier said than done. I need to say that, and I know that I'm going to get a lot of backlash from feminists, and go right ahead. I'm confident in myself that, I mean, I'll answer every comment, and sometimes I might just say that you're being ridiculous, but I will answer every comment. I'm going to make that commitment. But it's important for me to say that, guys, just learn how to be men. Women, let the men lead. It's worked for thousands of years, and unfortunately, after World War II and the Industrial Revolution, men were torn from their families and lost their trust within the social system of families in America and a lot of other countries in the world. And then fathers were raised by women, didn't know how to be men, and now that role needs to be filled. And so I just need to, I mean, normally in society, and I think like a lot of guys go on the right path, because normally in society, you'd be taught to be a man. Women wouldn't be taught to be men, and guys wouldn't be taught to be pussies. And unfortunately, that's just the case of how society is right now. So as people, we need to go back to our roots and realize that men need to be men and women need to be women. You can do whatever you want in your sex life. You know, if you want to fuck a guy and you're a guy, go right ahead. There's nothing wrong with that in any way, shape, or form. I don't want that to be misconstrued as my message. But I do need to make sure that men know how to step up, and that women know how to complete their role. I know that's extremely controversial. You're not supposed to say that, but you know what? Fuck it. If it's gonna make people happy, I don't give a shit what people think at first, because I know that I'm speaking from a place of comfortability. And one more thing before I go, I don't mean don't be kind. In fact, it's quite good to be kind. My mentor, Matt Pocious, he's one of the most, he's very, very assertive, but he's also very kind and kind of nurturing. And that's actually quite a good quality for a guy to have. I think the issue is that a lot of people mistake kindness, they mistake unassertiveness for kindness. And that's definitely not the case. If you're kind, it's important to be assertive as much as it's important to be kind. You have to be both. You can't really just be one or the other. You have to be both. And I think that a lot of guys nowadays aren't taught to be assertive and compensate for it by being aggressive, which is very different. It's not even on the same line. Being aggressive is forcing your will upon others, neglecting them for your own needs. Being assertive is it's irrelevant to temperament. It's just stating your boundaries and defending them. And I feel like that is 100% necessary in relationships. So that's today's Spot of Joe. I wanted to share that with you. In your comment question below, in your answer to my comment question below, I want you to answer what you think about, or I want you to answer how have you, if you're a man, not been a man, how have you if you're women, not let the men lead, and be what you think about men and women, and then C, what will you do in your life to create more of that natural polarity and allow that gender difference spark to thrive in your life, the attraction between the masculine and the feminine. So I'm going to let you go because I'm at home, and I want you guys to think about that, and in a month I will draw one comment question and give them a code to buy anything they want on my site, with a personalized message from me, Spot of Joe. Subscribe and share my lovely, I can't use lemon drops, bottle caps. Subscribe and share my, no, biscottis, there we go. Subscribe and share my lovely biscottis. Love you.